And welcome to another edition of the End Zone. I am Colby Daniels. Last night, Game 1 of the NBA Finals resulted in heartbreak for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we'll get ready for Game 2 at the Paycom Center on Sunday night. Our guest this week is former Thunder player for 2 seasons, 14-year NBA veteran, one of my favorite all-time North Carolina Tar Heels. He is Raymond Felton, also host of the To the Baja podcast. Ray, welcome to the show. Glad to have you. I know that Thunder fans are going to be excited to hear you talking Thunder basketball, one of the fan favorites in OKC.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on. And I love OKC, man. I miss that city.
It's been a fun playoff ride, and obviously it's been pretty up and down, right? I mean, they sweep the first series, they lose to Denver with the crazy Game 1 collapse, and that thing goes 7, and then you have the 5-game series against Minnesota, losing Game 3 in blowout fashion, but then bouncing back in a big way. I mean, it wouldn't be Thunder basketball, I guess, unless you faced a little adversity to start this NBA Finals, right?
Yeah. When you put it into that perspective, I totally agree. But that was a heartbreaker last night. That was a tough loss. But like you said before, man, the Thunder, they always bounce back. You know, they're a team that really deals with adversity very well. So, this one game don't bother me at all.
Well, let's jump into Game 1 and kind of recap what happened last night. And I want to get your perspective on some of the good and some of the bad. I guess if we're going to start with the good, it's got to be on the defensive side, right? I mean, they forced 25 turnovers last night. You had texted me a couple days ago about like what are the keys, and you mentioned pressuring the ball. I thought they did a terrific job on Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam in terms of four-quarter defense. But they gave up a lot of three-pointers. Defensively, what did you like and not like about last night?
Defensively, I loved everything they did last night. I just didn't like in the last 3-4 minutes they kind of relaxed a little bit. And a team like Indiana, they're going to keep fighting. They've been doing it all playoffs. They're never out of a game. I don't care if they're down 10 points and there's two minutes left in the game. They're not out of the game because they're going to keep fighting. They're going to keep coming. And with them having the type of offensive explosion team that they have, they got a lot of guys that can score the ball. They got a lot of guys that can shoot the three. So they're never really out of a game. So you have to really take them totally out of the game the entire game. So I think we just got a little relaxed those last 3 minutes defensively. Giving up some threes, giving up some shots that we wasn't doing early in the game. And I think that's really what happened. And I think once they go back and watch the film and look at that and see that, they kind of relaxed a little bit in those last 3-4 minutes, they'll clean that up.
Before I ask about the offense, one other defensive question. There were so many threes hit by Indiana in the fourth quarter, especially from Obi Toppin. I think Nembhard had a couple. Nesmith hit a couple. Was that just great shot making, or did you think the Thunder could have done a better job on maybe closing out on the shooters?
I mean, those guys wasn't getting those shots early in the game, and I think Miles Turner, he hit 2. It was just little things like that we could have just took the lead from 10 to 15 or maybe 20, and it was getting those 3-pointers that was kind of keeping them in the game just a little bit. And then it started hurting us because then we weren't making shots coming down, and it was coming down, they was making shots. So, I mean, like I said, I think they just need to just continue to just be more aggressive, run those guys off the 3-point line, make those guys be drivers and make them play within the mid-range, which I don't think they're great at. They're capable, don't get me wrong, but they rather shoot threes. They rather get in the paint and kick out for threes. That's what Indiana is really good at.
All right, I've got to ask you about the offense. I mean, SGA gets it going, 38 points last night. Lou Dort was 5 for 8 from downtown, hit some timely threes. But in terms of the overall offensive execution, it was very inconsistent. I mean, they really looked like a team that hadn't played in a week and never really were sharp on the offensive side of things. And that was definitely glaring, Ray, I thought, in the third and fourth quarters.
Yeah, no question. You can tell some guys was out of sync. You can tell they haven't been on the court in a while. But that's why it's a 7-game series, and I think they'll clean that up Game 2 and moving on forward. But I would definitely like to see, Check and J-Dub and those guys, get into the offense a little bit more and them being a more of a flow offense, than what I've been seeing more of all year. They're really that pick and pop, that pick and roll with Hurstein, him getting there, shooting that floater. They're dangerous when they got a whole bunch of guys within 10 points. SGA, obviously, he's going to get his 30 or more almost every game. But when you get the rest of those guys averaging around, J-Dub going to get around about 20, Chet get around about 15 to 18, everybody else kind of getting double figures. That's when they really are dangerous because the offense is clicking, everybody's touching the ball. And I think we'll see more of that game two.
It was kind of shocking on the offensive side of things to see how many turnovers they created, but how many times they then didn't capitalize on those turnovers. I mean, you look at getting 25 turnover opportunities and only converting 11 points out of those. That's pretty, I think, concerning in a one-game picture. I'm sure that will be corrected going forward, but I mean, that's where they really live is turning those turnovers and those fast break opportunities into points.
No question. I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis, for them to capitalize on turnovers and get more points off turnovers. But you got to give them flowers, and you got to give the flowers to Indiana. Indiana is also not only a top offensive team, but they also a pretty good defensive team as well too. So they did a really good job when they did make turnovers of hustling back and understanding the moment. So you got to give the hat off to them too for what they did in those situations. But definitely though, the Thunder really got to capitalize on those turnovers and really get more points off those turnovers, which is what they're really good at, what they've done all year. So I think they'll clean it up though.
Do you think any sloppiness at all is just attributed to the fact that it's a giant stage like the NBA Finals, or do you think that's just maybe media fodder?
No question. It's the first game, first finals, for those guys. Those guys are young, and it's a different type of game. It's a different level of basketball, and it's a level of importance. That you're doing a lot of thinking. You don't want to make no mistakes. You want to do whatever you can to try to win this championship. That's the ultimate goal. So, it was a little nervousness this first game, and I think they got that out the way. They got that stage, they got that crowd, they got that feeling of that atmosphere out the way. And I think, they're going to be fine from here. To me, in my opinion, I still got the Thunder winning in 6.
All right. I think Thunder fans are going to be very happy to hear that. All right, we have some fun questions coming up for Ray, but we're going to talk Game 2 adjustments on the other side of the break. That is Ray Felton. I am Colby Daniels. We're back in a moment here on The End Zone. Welcome back to The End Zone. Ray Felton is our guest, 14-year NBA veteran, 2 of those spent in Oklahoma City. I am Colby Daniels. Game 1, a heartbreaker for the Thunder, 111-110. Tyrese Halliburton leaving everybody in a state of shock at the Paycom Center on Thursday night. Game 2 on Sunday. Ray, I'm curious to get your thoughts on what the Game 2 adjustments are. I know Mark Daigneault has talked all postseason about really the biggest adjustments in a series coming after Game 1 into Game 2. I was pretty surprised that they adjusted the starting lineup in Game 1 just because Daigneault has talked so much about doing what you do and making the other team sort of adjust. The Thunder made the first adjustment out of the gate, and that was taking Isaiah Hartenstein out of the starting lineup and throwing Cason Wallace in. What was your take on I guess, that Game 1 adjustment, and do you see that going forward?
Coach he's a great coach, so I don't really want to say too much on his adjustment. In my opinion, I wouldn't have made an adjustment until Game 2. I would go with what I've been doing all year. I would have still started my 2 big guys, and I think Chick can guard Pascal Siakam. I think it'll be a difficult task, but it's a difficult task for anybody. But I still would have had him guard him and see what that looks like, and make them adjust to our 2 big guys crashing the board and just being that defensive presence that they both have, along with those pesky guards that we have. But like I said, the coach he's great. He's been amazing all year, and I would love to see that lineup back for Game 2. Like you said, stick with what you do, stick with what you've been doing all year, especially when those guys got healthy. And I would go with that. But as far as the game, the Game 2 adjustments is win the game. You know, this is a game that we got to have. Can't go down 2-0. You know, the series need to be 1-1 going into Indiana. Get this win, clean up some of the things that we know we need to clean up defensively as far as finishing the game. You know, play this game all the way through because Indiana is definitely going to do that. And offensively, just continue to move the ball more, make sure everybody touches it within the flow of the offense. You know, outside of Shea, we know Shea's going to, you know, break some things off because he's so good and he's been doing it all year. So those guys are used to that and adjusted to that. But that's really it, man. Just go win the game. You know, that's period. However you got to get it done, doesn't matter. Just make sure you get a W.
No doubt. It's a big one. SGA was terrific in Game 1, 38 points. J-Dub kind of up and down performance in Game 1. He had moments with flash plays. And Chet Holmgren, I thought just in some ways disappeared a little bit from the game. He seemed to get a little frustrated early, and then they didn't utilize him a lot throughout the game. The one thing I will say about J-Dub and Chet, despite the youth on this team, they do have a massive maturity level, I think, in terms of understanding the NBA, understanding that one game doesn't define anything, and their ability to bounce back seems to be at a really great level for young players.
Oh, no question. These guys are very, their IQ is very high. And that's what makes them so good. Even though they are young, it doesn't really mean anything because they understand the game, they understand how to win, and they understand, you know, the importance of each and every point of the season. And yes, they're definitely going to bounce back. I would love to see Czech at the 4. I think he's very dominant and a problem at that 4 position. Put Herstein at the 5. And I would love to see what that looks like. So hopefully, you know, that's the lineup that we'll see. And if it doesn't start it off, I would love to see that lineup a lot on the court this game too.
That is Raymond Felton. I am Colby Daniels. We will take another timeout. We are firing some fun questions at Ray on the other side of the break. It's Fast Break next here on the End Zone. And welcome back to the End Zone. I am Colby Daniels. Ray Felton is our guest this week, former Thunder player, spent 2 years in OKC, 14-year NBA veteran. It is time for Fast Break, our basketball version of Moving the Chains. I'm going to fire questions at Ray, and much like a fast break, he's going to do what he can to convert those questions into success. All right, I got to start with a UNC question for one of my favorite all-time Tar Heels. So, Ray, give me your dream UNC versus Duke 3-on-3 matchup. If you could pick 3 Carolina guys all time to match up with 3 Duke guys all time, one of the great rivalries in all of sports, what's the dream 3-on-3 matchup?
Ooh, man, that's tough right there. That's tough. I would go with MJ, Vince Carter, and James Worthy.
Okay.
Go against man. Let's go against let's go Kyrie, Christian Laettner, and Grant Hill.
I love it. That would be a fun 3-on-3 matchup. I think Carolina's sweeping the series, though. Maybe I'm a little biased.
100%.
Carolina's absolutely sweeping that series, but it would be a lot of fun to watch. All right, you spent 2 years in OKC. What was your favorite memory in terms of being a part of the Thunder?
Oh man, just the fans. I think the fans was amazing. Just how they would greet you before you took off on the plane. They'll go on the road, and then no matter what time we came in at night, man, it was fans out there greeting us to welcome us back into the city for us to go home. I've never seen that before in my entire career. So to see that, to see how much they love us as players, and just how much they love their Thunder basketball, I think the biggest thing is the fans, man. I love the fans.
In terms of Thunder basketball, I mean, they haven't been around forever. It's a pretty short history overall in terms of just their time in OKC, but 3 different MVPs, countless All-Stars, multiple future Hall of Famers along the way. What is your all-time Thunder starting 5 if you had to put a group of 5 on the floor?
Ooh, the Thunder starting 5?
Thunder all-time starting 5.
Ooh, man, all-time starting 5. Ooh, All right, I'm gonna go with Russ at the 1. I'm gonna go with Shea at the 2. I'm gonna go with James Harden at the 3. I'm gonna go with KD at the 4, and give me my big fella, man, Steven Adams at the 5.
All right, I love it. I love it. So we got SGA. We got all 3 of the MVPs. I guess 4 actual MVPs, right? Because James won an MVP in Houston.
Yep.
So 4 MVPs on a Thunder all-time starting 5 is.
And I can't forget. I don't mean to cut you off. I can't forget my guy PG, man. So I would put PG.
That's right.
As the 6th man.
Just don't put Melo as the 6th man because he doesn't want to come off the bench, right? That was the famous phrase at his initial media day here in OKC. All right,
Yes.
what was the best locker room you were a part of in your NBA career, just in terms of having a good time and the group of guys getting along so well? Because that's the two, I guess that's the commonality with these teams in the NBA Finals is both groups seem to get along really well with OKC and Indiana.
Honestly, bro. Honestly, I think that I've been blessed to be on some really good teams, kind of everywhere I went. I really can't complain with any locker room, that I played in, man. But I think some of the best times I've had are just, overall. I think the New York team I was with, when I had veteran guys like Jason Kidd, Marcus Camby, Kurt Thomas, guys like that in the locker room, along with, a young group like myself, Tyson Chandler, Melo, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert. Then you come down to the OKC, me and Melo, we back together. Then you got PG, you got Russ, you got Jeremy Grant, Steven Adams. I think Nerlens Noel was on that team that year. Patrick Patterson. The list goes on. I know I'm missing some guys.
The team was deep.
That was a good locker room. And then Dallas was a good locker room with Dirk, Monte Ellis, Wesley Matthews. JJ Barrera. That list can go on, man, on different teams, that I've been on, man. But I will say the Thunder locker room with that team, just the camaraderie we have, how cool we and how much we hung out, even outside of basketball, kind of kept us tight and together, even to this day.
All right, really quickly before we break, what is your go-to food or fun place that you miss in Oklahoma?
Mahogany.
Oh, there it is.
Mahogany, 100%.
My man.
I miss that place. Yes, sir.
That's my favorite steak of all time at Mahogany. And there's a couple other things. I could probably go on about the menu, but we got to get to a break. All right, we are wrapping things up with Raymond Felton, the 2012 Thunder or the 2025 Thunder. That's been a popular topic of conversation the last few weeks throughout this playoff run. We'll get Raymond Felton's thoughts on that as we wrap up the End Zone next. All right, we are wrapping up this edition of the End Zone, and we are officially putting Game 1 of the NBA Finals in the rearview mirror, and it is all eyes forward on Game 2 Sunday at the Paycom Center as the Thunder look to even the NBA Finals with the Indiana Pacers. Raymond Felton is our guest. So, Ray, throughout the Thunder playoff run here in Oklahoma, there's been a popular debate. This is the first Finals appearance for the Thunder since the 2012 team that had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. So this has been debated for weeks. I want to get your take as a former member of the Thunder. Who are you taking in a 7-game series, 2012 Thunder or 2025 Thunder? 7-game series.
Listen, man. I can't go against Russ. I can't go against KD. I can't go against James Harden. It's kind of hard to go against those 3 dynamic guys who've all been MVPs, who've all done such amazing things in this league, who are all going to be Hall of Famers. It's kind of hard to go against just those 3 guys alone, on top of, the type of team that they had around them as well. But then you can't go against, this Thunder team who's so young, who's so athletic, who's so just put together and just with each other through it all. So I think it would be a great series. But I still got to get an upper hand to those older guys, my era, with Russ, with James, with KD. When you look at just those 3 guys alone, they each and every one of those guys gonna go win games by themselves. And when you look at the Thunder team, you know, some of those guys got that capability 100%. I think J-Dub has that capability. I think Shake has that capability. But I think it's only one guy at this moment
no doubt
that can just go win you a game by himself right now, and that's SGA. And I think that 2012 team got 3 guys that can go do it.
It's a fun debate, Ray. We appreciate it. We got to run. Let's do it again soon, and we'll be in contact about Game 2 coming up on Sunday. That's Raymond Felton. I'm Colby Daniels. This has been another edition of The End Zone.